Hi everyone. This is going to be my second take because I tried to do a first live and I ended up accidentally revealing addresses and stuff, which is not great. So I'm going to begin this over again. And I'm going to start with an update on my situation from today. So there was one thing that I noticed today that I wanted to tell you guys about. The first thing that I want to tell you guys about was that today I was woken up from a neighbor outside. It was like kind of being it was being woken up, let's be real, by somebody outside walking past the window telling their child to hurry up because I got to go to school. And I wasn't really mad at it. And what I noticed also is that I didn't have this awful heart racing happening here. Do you understand what I mean? Which meant that the weapons were not being used on me. When that person woke me up, the weapons were not being used on me this time. And I'm thinking, yeah, all right, cool. And the reason I bring that up is because it's actually connected with what I'm about to talk to you about today, which is the plumbing. Now, I made a couple of videos. The first one was just to vent and to be really hard on myself about my part in it. The second was to kind of give you an update on the progress of the drains and how everything was working. But this is where I am going to attempt to paint a whole picture. And because my brain is part ADHD and part Havana syndrome, it might spill over into a rant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to be as concise as I can, and I'm going to try to leave emotion out of it as much as possible. I'm not going to say that I'm going to be successful, but I'm going to try and keep it concise, because drains are not the most exciting subject to talk about. But I'm going to explain how they connect to gang stalking. But first, a little background. So a few weeks ago, I was using baby wipes to clean myself because, you know, I usually do it with a rag and a tissue, you know, and, you know, I usually do it with a rag and a tissue to clean myself up. But I noticed that when I cleaned myself, like little bits of me, you know, not from the unfortunate area, but like, you know, when I cleaned myself, the water from me cleaning myself would end up in the shower because the shower and the sink are connected. So I decided I didn't want to keep doing that. And also I was on my period at the time that I was using the baby wipes. And yeah, I'll spare you the details, but it was a mixture of all of that that made me think to myself, I'm not trying to, you know, have a situation where, you know, my cycle is going down the sink or what have you. So I decided to use the baby wipes. And I used quite a bit of them. I used quite a few of them. And I noticed that there was a blockage almost immediately after I flushed the wipes down the sink. And I'm thinking, oh shit, okay, let me look up let me look up the life expectancy of baby wipes. So I got my wires crossed because these wipes were classic, and I read the expectancy for biodegradable baby wipes. So biodegradable baby wipes, you shouldn't flush them down the sink, but if you're going to flush them down the sink, they decompose within a few weeks. They disintegrate within a few weeks. The classic ones don't disintegrate for 100 years because they're plastic. So at the time, I didn't know that. At the time, I was thinking, okay, so I've got a few weeks to try to solve the issue myself, and we'll see where this goes. Now, the reason why I tried to solve the issue myself was because the last time there was a blockage, that's exactly what happened. I fixed the blockage myself, lots of plunging, lots of flushing, lots of plunging. The handyman came over, basically contributed to the same thing. You know, I was doing a whole like bicarbonate of soda. I was doing the vinegar. I was doing all of that, right? All of that disinfectant. And I was flushing and plunging the toilet, flushing and plunging the toilet. So I've done that before and it's actually worked. So I'm thinking, with regards to the baby wipes, maybe if enough water goes down the drains, it will push the baby wipes through. Do you understand what I mean? If I put enough water down there and I keep plunging, maybe that'll work. I tried for a couple of weeks after I tried for some time after my menstruation finished. So that was like within the next couple of weeks, right, that I was doing that stuff. But instead of actually improving the situation, it actually got worse to the point where every time they flushed upstairs, debris from my toilet would end up in the shower. And it got to a point now where I know this is where it gets gross, right? So I relieved myself in my toilet, took a number one. Somebody flushed upstairs. After a while, the water started bubbling, because that's what happens every time that they flush. The water starts bubbling in my flat. And the next thing I know, water from the toilet, excess water from the toilet, it ends up in the shower. When that happened, and I think it was on Thursday or Friday last week that happened, I immediately took photos, sent them to my landlord, and I sent them to the usual handyman that deals with it. And that handyman is indisposed. I'm not going to say why. So they called the plumber. My landlord called another plumber who came over. Who came over that same day. So I think it was the Friday. They came over that same day to investigate the situation, to see what was going on. And after doing the same thing that I tried to do, they said, you know what, I feel like the blockage is a little bit further down, so we're going to need to take your toilet apart. Now, the reason this is important is because during this time, upstairs, I found out that upstairs had actually called the plumber as well, because they were having problems with their drains as well. But, even though it was suspected that I might have had some part in the blockage, and I do mean some part, I kind of overstated my role in it, in the last couple of videos. Nobody was contacting me about the plumbing issues. And this is with upstairs knowing that I've been trying to fix a toilet myself. So they told the plumber everything. The landlords told the plumber everything. They told the plumber that they were having issues with their drains. And they decided not to tell me. They decided not to relay the message to me, right? And I'm not saying allegedly. I'm not even going to say what I heard or didn't hear. I know why the fuck they did that. Now, this is where gang stalking comes in. You've got a drainage issue for a few weeks to the point where you have to call a plumber in. And instead of actually telling the plumber, look, you need to talk to downstairs, you need to tell them what's going on. Instead, again, I'm not even going to say allegedly. If I get it wrong, I get it wrong. I don't care, right? If I get it wrong and I'm corrected on it, I will own it. But this is what I believe happened with my whole soul. This is what I believe happened, right? So instead of actually telling me that there was a drainage issue, instead, this was an opportunity used by these perps right here, and by extension, the relocation agent, to paint me as unreasonable. Say that they can't relay the message to me about the drains because they're worried about me being unreasonable. They're frightened that I'll kick off. They're frightened that I'll be violent. So best not tell her about it. So basically, they let that collect. They let all that debris collect in my shower. They let all those plumbing problems go on in their flat simply because they wanted to get revenge for videos that I had made prior to this incident. And simply because of the fact that 9 times out of 10, if not in the entire time, I was right about everything that I was saying in those videos as well. So I said horrible things, but I was right about the horrible things I was saying. So that's a double whammy that they wanted to get revenge for. And that's why they did not actually tell me or relay the message from the plumber to me that there was an issue. It was a calculated move to try to make me look as unreasonable as possible. So they put not only my home at risk and my health at risk, but they also put at least 2 other businesses at risk. Well, 2 businesses. I'm not a business. They put 2 businesses potentially at risk as well. And they put themselves and their family potentially at risk with the drain issues. They did all of that just to bring me down a peg or 2 with regards to the last few videos that I made. Again, I'm not saying allegedly. I'm not saying allegedly. That's what I know happened. Because ain't no way are you going to sit up there with drainage issues and not relay it unless you had a specific reason as to why you didn't relay it. Do you understand what I mean? So that was a whole engineered thing just to see the look on my face. That's why this drainage thing is important, because it was part of a smear campaign to try to make me look unreasonable, because I talked about BIMS, the Brighton and Hove Independent Mediation Service. I talked about how the neighbours weren't showing up and that I knew they weren't going to show up. I knew they were going to pull this crap, because that's what they do. They, like, if they can see that you're not going to back down on an issue, if the perps can see you're not going to back down, they go down the conciliatory route and then they run and hide. Or when they confront you, you know what, they confronted me over my social media. In the last few house meetings I've had prior to living here, I was confronted on my social media and I didn't back down. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I've been doing. You're damn right. And at the end of the day, like, if you had nothing to hide, why the fuck do you think you can catch me out on something? Because I don't hide like you. I don't do that shit. So that, when it comes to the BIM situation, so with the BIM situation, they ran and hid. When it comes to my social media, they tried to use that as evidence that I was violent, that I was like, they already got what they wanted at that point. They could have easily just gone back on my old videos and said that, look, if, you know, do you know what I mean? So I talked about all this on in my previous videos. I also talked about how, you know, the electronic torturers, the people using the electronic torture were trying to induce a heart attack. I talked about how the gang stalkers were trying to kill me. So because they felt bad, and the thing is, that what I notice about these perps right here in particular, they always use their emotions as an excuse for what they do. So because they felt bad about everything that I was saying, they let the drains fester so that I could look like the bad guy. But this is the thing. I don't give a damn if it's my fault. And the reason I say that is not because I don't care about the impact that I leave on other people. I mean, even if it means everybody hates me for it and everybody thinks, oh, it's her fucking fault, the drains are blocked. Even if people think that, and even if people believe that, I don't care if people believe that. I want to solve the problem. I don't care if people hate me. They deserve to be able to shower and take a shit. Just like I do. I don't care if people hate me. There are people who are not gang stalkers who use the services that are next door to me. And in particular, the restaurant that's next door. You're talking about hygiene, health and hygiene. If there's anything back here that affects what they've got going on back there, that affects health and hygiene, that affects the food they prepare, that affects the stuff they've got downstairs below me. It affects everything that they fucking do. It affects their hygiene. So no, I don't care if I look bad. I don't care if they hate me for it. If I've caused a problem, I'm going to try to solve the problem as quickly as possible. I don't give a fuck if I look like the idiot. I don't give a fuck if I look like the bad guy. It's got to be sorted out. That's the problem with these people. And that's exactly why I was the one who got it sorted eventually. I was the one who got the drains fixed. I was the one who called the plumber, and the landlord said, get down here. This is a serious situation. I've tried to fix it myself. No avail. Get down here. And you know how I know, one of the many clues that I've gotten that I wasn't told out of spite is when that family started making a big ass deal about how much it stank outside. I'm thinking, let me just not. But they made a big fucking deal about how much it stinks because they're going to think I feel self-conscious about what the toilet is doing. It's a drain. It's going to stink. And then on top of that, just like, so when they went out, they talked about how much it stank. And to be fair, it's a drain. It's going to stink, right? And the plumber said the other neighbors were complaining about the smell. Okay, yeah. No, fair enough. Fair enough. It's a drain. It's going to stink. But then these neighbors right here come back, start talking about the big black woman thing again. And I'm like, oh, this is boring. So that's how I know that if they didn't tell the plumber, have the plumber relay anything to me, they did it completely out of spite. They did it completely out of spite to try to make me look like a scary, unreasonable person. But I've got a track record of solving problems as quickly as I can. I have a track record of that. The landlords basically called me wow because of how much I don't let up about certain problems that go on in this flat. I've got a track record of solving problems. I've got a track record of dealing with things as quickly as I can deal with them, as easily as I can deal with them. There are email backlogs as evidence of that shit. I don't play when it comes to this. And I don't care if it makes me look bad. I've got a reputation for that. So even then, the little smear campaign of, oh, she's unreasonable, or she might kick off if she thinks, no, that's not going to work. Because if there's a problem, even if I'm the one who's caused it, I'm going to fucking solve it. Because who has the fucking time to do that shit? Who has the fucking time for that? No, I don't have the time for that nonsense. If I'm the source of an issue, or if I'm partly responsible for an issue, I don't care if people know about that. I want to solve the fucking problem. But because these people up here tried to make me look unreasonable, tried to make me look scary, tried to make me look like I might kill a person if they tell me the toilet's blocked. If I hadn't called anybody, if I hadn't raised the alarm, the problem would not have been solved for a few more weeks. I guarantee it. They would have let that shit fester. They would have let that fester. I don't understand how somebody can be so psychotically motivated and so fucking unserious at the same time. Do you understand what I mean? It's ridiculous. You know, I'm trying not to go on a rant. Let me continue. So during this time, I wrote this down. Like I said, upstairs had a plumbing issue that they've been sitting on for at least a week. They told the plumber about it. The plumber only told me about it because I'd reported the issue as well. Hang on a second. I wrote down that it was suggested that I was spoken to. Oh, I think either the plumber or someone else said that maybe they should talk to me. I think the plumber and I had a discussion and said that upstairs had plumbing issues as well, and that they said that I should be spoken to about it. They refused. Again, they let a situation fester so that I could look unlikable. Not serious. They're not serious at all. They're not serious at all. You know. And again, I explained the reason why they didn't report it. It's plain as day why they didn't do that shit. Okay. So in conclusion, A lot of the debris that came up from the toilet was as a result of protection from gang stalking, and also me trying to maintain a clean home. The truth of the matter is that the pipes are really bad. And, you know, if the pipes weren't really bad, there would have been certain things that I could have gotten away with. I can't get away with that here because the pipes are really bad. I was partially responsible for the drainage issues. I hold my hand up and admit that. But the thing about it is that when they flush the toilet, it brings the water downstairs because the water has to travel somewhere. So the water comes from upstairs to downstairs. So when they flush the toilet, my drains collect up with water. And if my drains are blocked, then it means that it goes to the lowest possible point, which means, you know, it goes to the lowest possible point it could reach, which unfortunately means the shower and maybe even the sink in the bathroom. So yeah, I was partially responsible, and I do mean partially, because all the water and debris, it comes from upstairs, goes down into my drains downstairs. So it collects up with water and debris from upstairs and other parts of the building as well. I think it does from those two places too. I'm not sure though. That's speculation. So I'm not entirely sure. Don't quote me on that. It might not be. It might not be. But I definitely know for sure that, like, any water and debris from upstairs, it goes down into my drains as well. So at most, when it comes to the blockage, I'm only like, what, partially responsible for it. Because you're talking about a young family who uses the toilet a lot. Not their fault. And it's also not their fault the pipes are bad. Right? But when they use the toilet, it goes down into my drains. So it's partially them as well as me. So the plumber was right when he said I was being too hard on myself. I just felt bad for my part in it, because as a grown woman, you know, there are certain things that I should know better than to do. And my intuition tells me not to do certain things. But I'm like, nah, fuck it. Like, from a logical perspective, I'm like, nah, fuck it. This is the logical solution to this problem. That's how my mind works. Do you understand what I mean? That's how my mind works. Like, there's a logical solution to a problem. I'm not gonna, like, ignore logic just because my intuition is telling me something, because this is the thing about intuition. It's irrational. So I didn't listen to my intuition. As a grown woman, I didn't use common sense. So I'm partially responsible for that. I admit it. I was not told at all about the issues with upstairs as well as the issues down here. And my neighbors knew that I was trying to fix the problem myself. They knew. And they knew better than I did that it wasn't working, because they also had issue with their drains. And yet they chose not to tell me. They chose not to relay the message, because they wanted to paint me as unreasonable, and they wanted to paint me in a certain light. They wanted to paint me as unreasonable. And that's why, you know, there are easily solvable problems that could have been solved weeks ago if you'd have just like prioritized other people's benefit rather than your own nonsense, petty revenge. You know, because it's not just me that's affected. Also, like, businesses are potentially affected, and you could have easily avoided all this if you'd have just been smart, and if you'd have just been thinking about other people other than yourself, and other than your children. There are other people who exist in the world apart from you guys. And, you know, I get it. I can be very self-absorbed too. So I get it. But occasionally I have to remind myself there are other people in the world apart from me. I'm sorry. That's something that just has to be done, bro. You know. So yeah, that was how block, drain, and gang stalking connect. And when it comes to the startling thing, the gang stalkers are still trying to startle me, but they're trying to startle me without using the weapons, to see if I'm genuinely scared. And yeah, I'm not scared. I'm not fucking scared. So if they want to get my heart rate up, they know they kind of have to do it artificially. So I feel like for now, they're going to continue to try to, you know, not put electronic weapons on me, just to see if I get startled on my own, if it'll happen on my own. And so far it hasn't happened on my own. Like they really like, it's just getting pathetic at this point. It's like, what is this gonna do? Like, I already said that you've murdered me, and you're continuing to murder me now. How does this change anything? Changes nothing. Nothing changes. And then with the drain situation, that's just another attempt to add to that. Doesn't change anything. And there's certain damage that you can't take back. There are certain damages that you cause in the body that once you cause them, you can't cover your ass again. So all of this psychotic behavior, just like not telling people about drain, it's psychotic, bro. It's psychotic behavior. It's ridiculous behavior. Surely you realize that. Surely you realize that. You know, and then all the taunting and stuff like that. Oh my God. And it's always about the same shit. You know what? I do bring up the past, and I can't lie that I bring up the past, but I only bring it up in context. How many times are the gang stalkers going to ask these perps to go on about a fucking bedroom? It's been 3 years. It's going to be 3 years in November. It just makes them look unhinged. 3 years. Big black woman, 3 years. Bedroom, 3 years. You're just making these people look unhinged. And they look unhinged as fuck on their own. And then on top of that, these people let the drains get clogged up. Knowing that I've been trying to fix it, they let the drains get clogged up just so that they can bring me down a peg or two. Be serious. Jesus Christ, bro. Like, you know, I was right about everything that I was saying. The gang stalkers are spiraling. They're just spiraling at this point. But again, you're already complicit in somebody's murder. There's nowhere left to go from there. You might as well just carry on. You might as well just carry on doing what you're doing and just not taking it personally. You might as well, because there's nothing you can do. I was murdered the second that I became a part of this program. The second that my name was put on this program, I was murdered. And the only thing that people did was just, you know, try to pile on top of it. That's all they did. Like, I was murdered the second this program started. So it's just, you know, just accept it. Just accept it. No amount of me getting upset is going to change anything. It's not going to change anything. Just accept it. I have. I fucking accept it. You know? And, you know, seeing as my death warrant was signed the second I fucking, you know, became a TI. You know, I haven't always succeeded, but I've always tried to inject as much happiness and as much joy into my life as possible. And I'm going to continue to do so for as long as I'm fucking breathing. That's what I'm going to do. What are you going to do? You're going to keep whining that you're a victim? While you're involved in somebody's murder, you're going to continue to try to make me look bad even though you know it doesn't fucking matter? Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And let's be clear about why I felt bad initially. I felt bad initially because as a grown woman, there's certain stuff that I shouldn't be doing as a grown woman with common sense. Mental illness and Havana syndrome or not, right? There's certain things as a grown woman you shouldn't do. And I take responsibility for that. And what really upset me, what really really got to me was me potentially affecting other people's livelihoods. And it's not because I give a fuck about these people. I don't. It's just that there are people in this village who are not gang stalkers. Most of the people in this village are not fucking gang stalkers. Most of these are normal people, just like every other place that I've been to. Most of the people in those towns and cities are normal fucking people who are not gang stalkers, who unfortunately use resources that some gang stalkers might be a part of. Why should the people who are not gang stalkers be denied because of gang stalker fuckery? Why should they be denied? And why should I contribute to that? My thing with my drainage, it might have caused problems, like I said, with a nail bar and a restaurant. Those are resources that people use. And imagine if the drain smell got into those buildings. The pipe specialists are talking about opening up manhole covers. It's a knock-on effect that has an effect on your community as a whole. That's not the kind of impact I want to leave. And I have to think about how I would feel if I was trying to run a fucking business and somebody had caused a drain issue and not fixed it. How would I feel? How would I feel? I would feel like I would feel awful, because how much money is that down the drain? How much money would I have lost if the drain smell had gotten into my business and I had clients coming up and through there and I had delivery people coming up and through there? How would that affect me? I don't want to leave that kind of impact on a community. I don't. I just don't. Why do you think that when it came to Black Brighton Market, I said it was individuals within it or connected to it? I didn't blame the whole organization. It was because there are people who are reliant upon that organization as a resource. I want the gang stalking to stop. I don't want Black Brighton Market to stop. Fuck all that. I don't care if I'm there or not. I don't want them to fucking, black people who are not gang stalkers, black people who are not gang stalkers to suffer. I don't want that. Fuck all that. So yeah, I mentioned Black Brighton Market's name, but the truth of the matter is I will never blame them as a whole organization, because there are people who are not gang stalkers who need that resource. And it's the same principle here. So if there's problems that I've caused, I want to know about it and I want to sort it out as quickly as possible. Because as self-absorbed as I can be, it's not just about me all the fucking time. Somebody else has to feature at some point. And that's exactly the problem with these people and the gang stalkers. Everything is about them. It is never about anyone else. It's all about them and their fucking feelings. Their fucking feelings. They will destroy the entire... Dangerous. 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 These are the type of motherfuckers who will destroy the entire world based on their fucking feelings. Dangerous ass people. Dangerous. They will fucking, like, if they had access to nuclear weaponry, they click the red button just because their feelings came into the equation. Dangerous. Dangerous set of people. And what makes it worse is that they genuinely believe they're not bad people because they feel emotions. They genuinely believe they're not bad. That's scary to deal with. Okay, granted, I might not be scared because I have integrity, but, you know, when you really break it down, that's frightening. Absolutely frightening. Absolutely frightening. People are scared of me because I'm big and I'm black. And I got integrity, you know. And, you know, I say what I mean and I mean what I say. What you see is what you get. What you get is what you see. So people are scared of me. You feel me? But like, no, I'm not the one not the one. I'm not the people you need to be scared of. I'm not the one people need to be scared of. I really ain't. I really ain't. I'm not the one who can fucking destroy shit based on my emotions. All I've ever done is tell the truth about what people have been doing to me, and that's all I've ever done. It's the reactions of everyone else, it's the feelings of everyone else that have dictated the level of fuckery that they're willing to do in order to avenge feeling bad. Man. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Dangerous set of people. Dangerous set of people. You know what I mean? And yeah, like, imagine, like, you know, you have to think about, this has been a 3-year campaign that started with me laughing too loud. Scary. Absolutely scary. That's supervillain shit. That is legit supervillain shit. I've been underestimating it. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. And worse still, they've got people in this community, not just their family, but they've got people in this community behind them. Scary stuff. Scary stuff. Oh, very, very scary. You know, and there's at least one business owner in this community that talks to these people on a regular, interacts with these people on a regular. Frightening. Frightening. What they will do, you know, in service of their emotions. Dangerous people. But anyway, is there anything else I missed? Is there anything else I missed? I don't think so. The only thing I can think of is that, you know, the heart thing. You know, the gangstalkers have stopped firing on my heart. They've been firing on my head more often. But, you know, I hardly ever talk about the weapons being fired on my head because it just feels like a standard thing that they do now. It just feels like a standard thing, so I don't really talk about it. You know. But, yeah. I swear there's something else. I swear, I just can't put my finger on it. I'm probably going to remember after I click off this live. You know, I'm not trying to stay on camera trying to remember like what I'm going to fucking say and stuff. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, I can't think of anything else for now. So, if you've made it this far in the video as a targeted individual, let me know how you are, how you're doing, what's going on with you. And yeah, peace and blessings. I love you guys so much. Yeah, I think I've already talked about BIMs. Yeah, I think I already talked about that. So yeah, I'm expected to go to another. Yeah, no, I've already talked about that. So we'll talk soon. I'm sure I'll remember as soon as the camera clicks off or whatever. And, you know, that's what happened last time. So it'll probably happen again. But yeah, peace and blessings to all of you. Love you guys so much, my fellow TIs. Peace and blessings. Bye bye, my darlings. Let's see if this comes off at the bottom. Here we go.